first game we'll be looking at in this series, 1111 Memories Retold, is developed by Aardman Animations and published by Namco Bandai in 2018. 1111 Memories Retold tells the story of a Canadian photographer and a German engineer being sent to the frontline, after which their paths intertwine.
The game falls within the genre of a walking simulator, which essentially means the gameplay mostly consists of the player moving the character around in the world, interacting with objects, and talking to other characters to progress. While from the perspective of a video game enthusiast, this might seem too simple or non-challenging. Video game developers opt for this format because it makes for an accessible and casual experience. Developing the game in this type of manner puts the narrative or story at the forefront, putting the gameplay itself more in the background. This is especially true in the case of 1111 Memories Retold. At the core of the game is the narrative, how the character developed throughout the events of the game, accompanied by a beautiful soundtrack and ambience.
From a technical perspective, the game runs well and no major bugs or glitches were encountered during testing. For the art style, the developers took a bit of a risky approach, as the entire game is made to look like a painting. While the game certainly looks very good graphically, it makes for a straining experience, as the art style is taxing on the player's eyes. The learning content of the game can be divided into two different types. The first type is integrated into the story and makes the player question their beliefs and morals about war. These instances are encountered naturally, as they are part of the main plot, forcing the player to make some kind of choice. The first major player choice emerges when the two main characters' paths intertwine, during which the German is holding the Canadian at gunpoint. The player must then choose whether to shoot or to put the gun down, influencing how the story unfolds. The second type of learning content is optional, through the form of collectibles. Hidden throughout the game's different levels, the player can find bits and pieces of information about World War I, providing a historical and contextual background for the game's events.
While the developers in their design clearly took a stance against war, topics such as inclusion and diversity are primarily missing from the game. The game's environment is made to feel true to the time period, meaning that on the battlefield the German army consists of only male German soldiers. The same goes for the British and Canadian army, with the exception of Indian soldiers conscripted from the British colonies. One of the Indian soldiers plays a big role in the plot, and more information can be found out about the colonial aspect of the war through the game's collectibles. Women are encountered in the game, but only in their traditional roles from the time period during various chores around the villages. In terms of ethics, the whole plot of the game revolves around showing the perspective of the Germans and Canadians simultaneously. Each side harbors a lot of hate for the other, and most soldiers think they are the good guys, while the enemy is evil. Among the soldiers, however, there are different perspectives, as some are eager to kill the enemy, while some are questioning the point of the war, saying it is pointless. Major, high-ranking officer, goes through a huge character development as he starts off very aggressive and eager to kill the enemy, but by the end of the game feels guilt for the man that died at his command. Furthermore, the main plot points is that the German soldiers and the Canadian photographer are brought together by a common fate and must somehow reconcile their differences. On the game's ethics, the developers commented the following: offering a different take on war that goes far beyond mere entertainment, 1111 Memories Retold is an antithesis to the common shooters. It ambitions to celebrate peace and echo the centenary of World War I so that the younger generations never forget.
The The game's accessibility and scale-up potential are a mixed bag. On the one hand, the game's casual gameplay mechanics ensure that the game is open to be experienced by a wide audience. Simple controls also make it so the game can be played by less able players. On the other hand, the game is rather pricey for its length, as it costs €25 for a 5 to 6 hours playing experience. The game is furthermore only fully available in English and is not available on handheld devices, such as mobile. The concept of the game's story, however, has a lot of scale-up potential, as the idea of bringing two enemies together through a common fate, in which they must reconcile the differences, can be applied to any conflict. In summary, the game brings a very strong presentation in terms of story, narrative, and atmosphere. The developers of 1111 Memories Retold have created a stunning and immersive world, where the didactical content is integrated seamlessly into the player experience. From an actual gameplay perspective, however, the game falls a bit short, as it lacks engaging interactive elements that the medium of video games is typically known for. With these things in mind, we give the game 18 out of 25 Mind Game stars. For a more detailed breakdown of our scoring of 1111 Memories Retold, you can click the link below. See you next time.